All right. You notice I start with that a lot. You see, when I say that, to me, that I'm saying no to everything else. I am saying yes to the podcast. I want you to write this down. This is really important. Write this down. Pull over your car, get out a crayon, go stink your pinky toe in the mud or something. Write this down. Ready? If you can't say no, you must say yes. If you can't say no, you have to say yes. And having to say yes is slavery. When you surrender to a desire, Neville Goddard says your desires are divine in origin. They're gifts from God. I keep bringing this up because it's so important. We're exploring that in the Remarkable program. That's the year-long one. This year we've taken apart one disciple every month. Just slowly exploring, having some fun, having a nice little dance with them. And when we took apart Matthew, one of the first things was Matthew mentions that your desire has its own plan and power. So your job is to pick it, not to make it happen. Your job is to pick it, not to create it. Your job is to pick it. Your desire is already created. Creation is finished. Getting gold. Noticing this isn't the usual bullshit. It's a whole new level of it, Mr. 20. ManifestingMasteryCourse.com. But I digress because that's the backbone of all we do. Yes, we've got about 1 billion other things, but no, I'm telling you, start there. But meanwhile, if you have to say yes, if you can't say no, you have to say yes. What does Neville Goddard say? Prune the vine, morning, noon, and night. He doesn't say chase fluff bunnies. He doesn't say stay positive. He doesn't say force. He doesn't say... What does he say? Prune the vine, morning, noon, and night. I've got this bonsai tree that's out of control. I haven't pruned him in years. He was a lovely little fella, then one night a rat came in and ate like 90% of him. And so I started growing him back, and I haven't pruned him in years. I'm just letting him grow and develop some bits. But it's getting time to prune him so that the power compacts. It's getting time to prune him so instead of running wild, he becomes a cool little bonsai tree. So I've had no problem letting him grow wild for a couple of years. I've been involved in other projects. And at some point I'll go, I want to be a bonsai guy again. And I'll buy some stuff. Drop a couple $100, no big deal. Study with some people, learn some good shit. Anyway, that's what I do. But to do any of that, you've got to learn to say no. Because until you can say no to the bullshit that keeps you where you are, you can't say yes to the good shit that's going to get you where you're going to go. Write that down. Until you can say no to the bullshit that got you where you are, you can't say yes to the good shit that'll get you where you're going. And here's the other bit. Bullshit's not bad, it's just bullshit. Food's good when you eat it. When it comes out the other end, it's no longer food for you. See, I was big into goal setting. I was big into push. I was big into all kind of things when I was younger. The cool shit that most people are. That most people keep combining with this stuff. And this stuff that's fed me at the time got me to where I got with it. To get beyond that, I had to give it up. This is gold gang because people say, well, why don't you like The Secret? Why don't you like goal setting? Why don't you like... There's a lot of things I used to like, and they got me to where they got me. But to get beyond that, I just had to let them go. You get to say no to what served you, and yes to what will serve you. You get to say no when people just want to take your time. In Dream Driven Day, one of the things that we explore is sprawl. See, sprawl is basically that vine growing out of control, slowly but steadily. And suddenly it's like, wow, like where did my day go? I lost another day. There's a reason why we call our core philosophy in our core course now Dream-Driven Day. Dream-Driven Day. It's not about, hey, over the next 4 years. Yeah, right. Yeah, by the way, that can work for some things. I don't find it all that fun or fulfilling of a way of life, though. I live my day my way. So I do what I do, I don't do what I don't do. So we've made some massive changes to how we're working with Dream-Driven Day starting in July. Stay tuned. If you want on the list for the first updates on that, let me know. This is Mr. 2020 coming to you live from Melbourne, Australia. This is the Neville Goddard podcast. All rights reserved in all media. Meanwhile, here's what I want you to notice. If you have to say yes, it's slavery. I say no to a lot. I do. I say no to everything that doesn't directly feed my dreams. I say no to everything that doesn't directly feed me. So we've got a cool little recording package. It's the Yes Method Mastermind. I'll put a link up with this. If you don't see the link, contact me. I'll send it to you. But the Yes Method is basically what it's all about. It's about saying yes. And to say yes, you get to say no. And if that makes you cringe, it's time for the Yes Method. We've got a hell of a great special going on it right now. I'd suggest you dive into it. If you got gold today, if you realize, you know what, this guy doesn't always make sense. He does make me stretch. See, that's a good indicator. If I just make perfect sense to you, that makes perfect sense. That's what I've always thought. But if it's more like, hey, that makes sense. I've always suspected something like that. Or that doesn't really, that makes me, I got to think about that. See, if you're stretching it all, that's a good indicator for me. If you're not stretching, listen closely and actually write some of this down, because there's layers to it. Because if you can't say no, you have to say yes. And if you have to say yes, it's slavery. But if yes becomes a way of play, your entire life changes. Already, at freeneville.com, the Yes Method recordings. Go there, go get them. The Yes Method recordings at freeneville.com. Link in the comments. See ya.